introduce you, Komal Ahuja. There was this one girl who had slided into my DMs last year on LinkedIn, and then look at you. I just feel like talking to this superstar. I'm not sure why TED people are not looking for you every day in and out, and why you're not still the LinkedIn top voice, but you deserve more than all of this. I'm
That's
so
too flattering.
proud of you. So proud of you, because there's one thing teaching freelancing and talking about it, and there's this passion side to it. Like when I see Elon Musk, he's passionate about entrepreneurship and what he's doing, and then I see Komal Ahuja, and she's passionate about it. She's not doing it for minting money or anything. She loves it, genuinely loves it. And yeah, so I am so honored to host you, and I love you. So
That,
yeah, welcome.
that is like such a flattering introduction. Oh my God. Like I think you were one of the first few people
Yeah.
I saw and looked up to on LinkedIn. Like, of course, there was Vanshi, there was you, there were just, one or two more people. And for your posts were like, this, raging energy, just like a lot of enthusiasm, a lot of things. And then we talked a bit, I think, but just like we connected, I think from the instant we kind of connected in the DMs, it just kind of everything kind of just fit together. So I'm just really, really glad to have you here in my, not just like as a freelancer in my network, but also as a good friend. But yeah, I mean, really, really glad for that.
Yeah, exactly. I think I have been connecting with a lot of people, and a lot of people connect with me, but that sync that this person is just coming to understand how I do this,
Yeah, yeah.
this person is just coming to me to understand XYZ things. I never saw you like that. Like I've seen people just DMing, hey, this problem, help, and then I reply, and then they, hey. I've
Yeah,
never seen you like that. You're concerned when you see that things are downside or something, you ask me, and
yeah.
it's not like, hey, problem, help, bye.
Mm.
So attractive. And I think that's one networking tip that you can take from Komal, that she's very humble at the start and the end of the, she knows what should come before and after
Mhm.
asking those things. So that's very nice.
That's just being smart, I think.
Exactly. And it's very basic.
Mm.
Like you
Yeah, that's
should do this. So yeah. But anyways, let's get started. I need to ask you this as the first question, which is what makes you Komal? Because you and I, from this time we have started leveraging LinkedIn, that's close to 1.5 years now. We have seen people coming and going,
yeah, true.
and
Very
a
true.
lot of them.
A lot of them. Yeah.
Yeah, and last year I remember discussing with my mentors that there's so much competition, these 10 people constantly pushing content. And then he said 365 days, 70% of them would be wiped out. And I thought, whatever.
Is
But it
that
did.
is so freaking true. Oh my God. I'm just kind of doing a recap in my
Like
mind.
understand, remember the people we were
Oh
collaborating, doing stuff,
God.
trying
Yeah.
to plan stuff, and then they vanished.
Yeah,
So
that's
what
true.
makes you Komal? Like what makes you stick for so long? And not exactly so long, but what makes you so consistent or passionate about the work that you do, not just coming and going on a platform?
I think it's just love, so much love for writing. Like I think I don't know if that's like a skill to love something so much that you can't really leave it. When I talk to people, when people ask me what is a disadvantage of being a freelancer, there are other things, but I always tell them that one disadvantage which actually poses as an advantage for me is that I'm addicted to freelancing. Like that is also a struggle for me. I cannot unplug from work because I'm super, super into it. That can also be toxic sometimes, but that is precisely what makes me me, I think. From the moment there I started dancing back in, I think, I don't know, third or fourth grade. I have been dancing since then to, like, just 2 years back. So I was dancing for like about 8 to 10 years consistently every day, just kind of dancing a lot, like training in different styles, doing this, doing that, somewhere or the other, not attending family dinners, not meeting friends, just dancing. And then when the pandemic hit, that focus shifted from dancing to writing, and I still have the same thing, just kind of continuing. So I think it's just love for what you do. I think nothing more than that, just kind of a lot of love for the concept of freelancing, the concept of writing, the concept of the entire, kind of the digital ecosystem where I can work from whenever I want, wherever I want, earn how much money I want, just meet kind of people, people from different cultures, people from different backgrounds, people with different experiences, kind of just love for it. I think that's more or less about it. And I just that's like a very deep question, and I'm gonna think about it later as well. But yeah, for now, that
Yeah, this was the observation, because I remember we collaborating with people
yeah,
mindlessly. I was seeing the same names doing circles with
yeah,
XYZ, and then
yeah.
I'm like, okay, he
That,
was right, that mentor. But okay. So that gets me to my second question, which I think should be a burning question by now, which is, now you've established yourself as a freelancer. You don't think about money in a sense that, okay, I'll not be able to sustain this for next 6 7 months or whatever it is. Why not an agency?
very good question. So an agency is in the cards that I have written for myself. It's somewhere down the line, but not right now. So I think if you ask me this question about 6 months back, I would tell you that, you know what, my next step is starting an agency. Because for me back then, like 6 to 8 months back, I thought that with freelancing there's only so much you can do. Like honestly, I was doing it, it was going well, I was making good money, I had good clients, but still I thought, somewhere at the back of my mind, that there's only so much I can do. But then as I started working with more and more people, started expanding my network, started getting more clients, getting more qualified opportunities, I kind of thought, no, I think if I really like working by myself, if I'm able to scale it over and over again, month after month, hitting revenue goals, kind of crossing revenue goals at times, then possibly I should stick to freelancing. And also the concept of an agency was in my mind when I thought that freelancing was it. Currently I'm also exploring options for going for a master's degree, because for me right now freelancing is going really really well, and I don't want to leave that ever. Like even if I just kind of do, let's say, start my own agency, I still want to keep a few projects to myself because I don't want to leave that feeling. But currently it's more about, it's less about the money growing in my bank account,
Yeah.
but more about how I'm growing as a person. And that is somewhere that gets lost in translation. So when you're a freelancer, you're making a lot of money. Sometimes the focus shifts from how you're growing and how your bank account is growing. And there's a huge difference between that, which is kind of difficult for people who've just started freelancing to understand. They're like, yeah, money is coming in the bank account, is zyada kya chahiye? But that's kind of not how it works. So I would say, and I forgot the question that you asked me, agency. So kind of agency is in the cards, but right now I'm really really in love with how freelancing is unfolding for me as a person, managing work, managing everything myself, talking to clients, handling my team of writers my way. So things are happening according to me. When you're an agency, I think just a lot of responsibilities start adding up, and then I won't be able to write as much. I will be handling things, but the writing bit will go away. So that is kind of which holds me back. I know agency is the next step, but maybe I'll hold it off a little longer because I want to write more. So I think, yeah, more or less.
Have you seen the bold type, that
Yeah,
series?
yeah.
Are you the Jane Salon instead of Jacqueline Carlyle? Like, and you can be both and you can be happy
Yeah,
in both.
that's
But
true.
I just see people striving for one and not the other one.
Yeah, that's true.
But I think
Yeah,
Jane just gave us that message that if you're passionate, just
yeah,
do it.
do it.
And you're very right. I was interviewing Punita before this,
Yeah,
and I asked her the same question: why not an agency? Because you are successfully running a lot of things and campaigns, and you have so many corporate clients, and you're teaching them. And she said this to me, that agency is a no given this the liability and the responsibility and
yeah,
everything that comes. I think then you actually have to detach yourself from the skill that you had, and you have to step into some bigger shoes.
yeah. More of management.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And secondly, I really respect your master's ka decision. Given that we want everything very fast, you do it or you don't do it, but you considering it is also very nice, because you don't feel yourself as settled right now.
yeah.
Like you still
That's
want to
right.
do more, and experiences do add up to your skill set.
Yeah,
Like
true.
the experience of going probably abroad or some other
Yeah,
city.
that's what I'm planning. India, no.
Yeah, and meeting people and
Yeah,
trying to understand. Like when I started interacting with all those international clients, people see
yeah,
them for money, I was seeing them for ideas.
Yeah, true.
Talking to a Silicon Valley founder and understanding the pressure that he goes through with every
Yeah.
pitch meeting, with every deck that is presented. It's crazy out there, and the amount of work that is going. So it's good that you are in that phase where you know that you have to evolve rather than, oh, I've done it all. Though
Yeah.
you're 90% there, right? Where we see the idea of cancer and happening and everything. Great. So, was hiring not difficult for Komal? Because you have set really high standards from the client side. So they know that whatever coming from you would be this. And also talking about pricing and everything. And so your freelancers also know, or your team also knows that they will be well paid, right? So between the payments and between the client expectations, how do you balance?
That's in fact a very good question. So I think from the time that I started hiring writers, the first writer I hired was someone that I knew personally. So
Mhm.
she was like in my college and like a junior in my college. So that was my first hire. So I knew the responsibility and the pressure was not that much. Like
Okay.
it's different when you're interacting with like a complete professional, and it's different when
Correct.
you're working with like a part friend and a part professional. And she
Correct.
was just starting out. It was her first project. So it was kind of fun working with her. But then slowly, as I started adding more writers to the team, currently I have 4 of them,
Yeah.
the responsibilities kind of started adding up, because I knew that there were times when, I have a process. So like once the work is assigned, I get the work from them, then I edit the work, then I send it to them. But like sometimes it's kind of difficult to vet the work, kind of communicate ideas to them, kind of communicate edits to them, kind of communicate what I'm feeling, what the client's feeling, and then communicate that to them, which is not something I had thought before when I was freelancing just by myself, right? So it kind of teaches you a lot. And I think as a writer, my writing has actually grown a lot since the time I started editing my writer's work. So like it kind of gives you a different perspective on things when you're editing someone else's work. So things that I did not notice usually, when other editors gave me their suggestions, I would kind of sometimes frown upon them. Yeah, what? Yeah, I'm a writer, you're an editor, let me see that bit now. But when I started editing things, I kind of realized that, oh my god, this is how it happens. And it kind of just contributed a lot to my perspective as a writer as well. Managing client expectations, I think that has been much better since the time I started setting up systems in place. So like a Trello board, like a Google spreadsheet, like a group. I constantly send them these writing resources that I come across, constantly send them Loom videos. So what I started doing was, whenever I have a brief prepared, I make a Loom video telling them that, okay, this needs to be here, this needs to be here, kind of takes away the communication gap. About payments, I have been very, very adamant about, like, I have always been an advocate of writers being paid X
Yeah.
amount,
Okay.
and
Yeah.
yeah, not below that. So all the writers, like the 2 writers who started with me earlier, I in fact raised their prices by a huge margin by myself without them asking me, because I kind of wanted to stand up for the fact that if I'm telling people that you should not charge below this, if people are telling, like my writers are telling me that I want to charge this, I'm not going to give them that amount, I'm going to give them a higher amount. So that kind of also, because I know that as a writer, if I'm investing efforts and I have to communicate a lot to clients that, what I am charging for this, the value that I'm bringing to the table, they don't have to explain that to me because I'm doing that myself. So I think kind of hiring people, kind of working with other people, especially writers, kind of teaches you a lot. Not just management stuff, but also stuff about your skill, how you are with kind of communicating with people, setting up systems and all of these things, which I think overall holistically helped me grow more as a freelancer, which was not there before that. So kind of when you scale your business, but also you scale yourself. So yeah, along those lines.
And the best part is because you started it from scratch, you know when what your writers are going through.
Yeah,
Like
true.
when they have a writer's block, okay, this is
Yeah,
normal. Oh,
yeah,
but if somebody is messing around with your business, you also know that,
yeah.
because you know the entire thing,
Right.
right? And that's very empowering. So if you know design as an agency, if you know
Yeah,
design ads, this and that, everything, you
yeah.
know what's going right and wrong in terms of timelines, costing, commercials, and everything. So that's good that you implemented it yourself and then you are becoming an agency owner. Right now I'm seeing a lot of trends where people who had money and had contacts are becoming agency owners, and then they don't know how to manage the team.
Yeah.
That's another. Uh, right. Okay. So we've talked about expectations and we've talked about now one last question before we move on away from the business model
Yeah.
thing is why not a YouTube channel?
So that is something that I'm planning for 2022. I've actually tried a lot of things this year.
Yeah.
Tried consultation calls, tried writing an ebook, tried my master classes, tried a content audit service, tried consultations to businesses, just a lot of things. Because I wanted to try everything because I put everything into like proper action in 2022 because like I like working, I like writing a lot, but I also do know that there are other things that I like doing. For example, teaching and helping other
Yeah.
freelancers.
Yeah.
So like a YouTube channel is definitely one thing because like just so many people tell me all the time that you know what, do you have a video? Do you have something we can read up? Because Instagram you can only create so much content on Instagram. And apart from that, the blog writing, I cannot write blogs for myself. That is like a no. I have been putting off my website writing like just the copywriting of my own website for 2 months now. So like if I'm working on a personal project, I really need to make sure that I'm investing time in it. And I think making videos is something that I really like. Reels was something that I really like doing, experimenting with. And again, YouTube is something that I'm looking forward to because I see myself repeating a lot of things for a lot of freelancers. So the same old things, how do I begin freelancing? How do I create a
Oh, yeah.
portfolio? How do I price my services? How do I scale my freelance business? So kind of I do have reels and everything on it, but it's kind of exhausting to repeat them again and again.
And it's
So I
too
think,
lost also.
yeah,
They're not
exactly.
searchable, right?
Very
So
true.
and hence this question, because I see you so active on video, so confident and everything, and I see you as the next Vanessa Lau. Maybe if you want to go that direction.
That is like she's the holy grail of I think someone I look up to when it comes to YouTube, especially in the marketing world. So like that is like the
And
huge like a huge
especially understanding that course creation can be this
yeah.
profitable, right? And teaching is like another part to the business and everything. So in India, we saw WebHub
Yeah.
doing 499 courses. And then outside India, we saw Vanessa Lau doing $1,000 courses
Yeah.
and kind of understand the both the sides of the funnel. The bigger side where you get a lot of crowd but at a lesser price, and then the other side which says less people, a lot of money.
Yeah. Yeah. True. True.
All right. And now we come to LinkedIn. So how did you stumble upon the platform?
It is very funny. So I was bored when the pandemic started. That was like the first week of pandemic.
Mhm.
And I could not dance, could not go outside. So
Mhm.
I had done a few writing internships before. I thought that I might as well find something. Like at that point of time, writing for me was maybe writing for news channels or like magazines because I
Okay.
was not sure of what other things I could do as a writer.
Mhm.
So my earlier two internships were from Internshala. So I thought I'll try a different platform now. Googled a bit. Every blog said I should try LinkedIn. So I hopped onto LinkedIn, created an account, and just kind of got very confused about the platform because it does not work like Instagram, Facebook, all of these things, right? It's completely different. And so I was very lost on the platform. Again, went to blogs, YouTube videos to kind of see how it works. And that's when I stumbled upon WebHub's workshop. That I was in his batch 2, I think, right?
Oh,
um,
okay.
and at that point of time I kind of understood LinkedIn a bit because I was consuming a lot of blogs. But when I took WebHub's workshop, I started understanding it a bit better because it was still fairly new for me back then. But yeah, it just the same loop. Got on the platform, was looking for an internship, started connecting with news editors. Like I randomly sent like connection requests to like a lot of editors, marketing managers of the same company. So like 10 to 15 people in the same company, sending them connection requests. Kind of started creating content very randomly about the book I'm reading and all of these things very inconsistently. But one day one of my posts kind of blew up, and I think that was what put me on the LinkedIn map. And through that, like a couple of days before that, I got a lead also of someone who asked me if I can write for them on a freelance basis, and I said yes. So that I think LinkedIn freelancing kind of happened very very simultaneous for me. I was looking for an internship, went on LinkedIn because I thought it's a job searching portal, I can get an internship through that. Stumbled upon freelancing, took both of them up, and actually kind of
Worked
grew
out.
my business and grew my LinkedIn profile and my personal brand in tandem. But yeah, that's more or less about what happened.
All right. And so all the milestones that you've hit and everything that has been there, I have never seen the quality of content degrading, which is amazing. I have seen people again that were there last year. I've seen the
Yeah.
content quality becoming very salesy or
Mm.
memeish or just cribbing about stuff and everything. You never did a post which says charge more, stop cribbing, and then cribbing about charging less and everything. And then you were giving action steps every freaking time.
Hmm.
Now the editor will kill me for not saying the F word. I just stopped at it. But okay. So all this, and I never saw the quality degrading. How do you add the wow factor in every post?
So I think initially it was just about creating content because I wanted to get more eyes to my profile, more eyes to my brand, more eyes to who Komal Ahuja was. Because back then when I started freelancing, in the initial days, there were too many freelancers on LinkedIn. So I kind of felt like right now there's, I think, much more than that. But back then I still thought, there's just a lot of competition. So it was
Correct.
about kind of taking inspiration from the blogs I read, from the course I took on HubSpot, like a free course on content marketing. But later, as I started creating more content, more eyes to my profile, it kind of mattered more to create quality content than quantitative content. Like kind of, okay, if I post like 2 times a week, that's still fine, but the quality should be up to the mark. That is how it changed. For like, I haven't posted on LinkedIn for about 3 weeks now because I was just not feeling it. Like I just did not feel like posting on LinkedIn. So I did not. I could have just kind of ramped it up, kind of posted.
One liner and
Yeah,
said,
that
yeah.
that is not something I wanted to do. Like the same things on Twitter, the same things on LinkedIn, Instagram content to LinkedIn, Twitter, newsletter content to LinkedIn. Did not want to do that, so I just did not post at all because again, quality matters. I think a lot of leads that came through those people who never interacted with my posts but were nurtured through my content over time. That my personal brand built a recall value with them, but it was because of that quality content that I actually could get the initial push to kind of grow my freelance business. So did not want to compromise on that. So I was very cautious, and I was also very scared of people who were in my network of judging me for the wrong kind of knowledge. So every post that I kind of created, every post that I published was thoroughly vetted, that I'm not stating something which is wrong. I'm fact checking everything twice. I'm also confirming information from like a credible source, unless and until it's of course an experience backed post, then it's those are my experiences, my opinions. But if it's like a thought leadership kind of a post, something which educates people, it needs to be top notch, because I was scared someone or the other would rat me out and tell me, you know what, you are not kind of, you don't have that kind of knowledge, because I was still a beginner, and for me I was like a 19-year-old. So I was like a 19-year-old in front of people who've been freelancing for about 6 to 7 years,
Yeah.
before my in front of them, kind of just that insecurity, age insecurity also came in. But I think it was just, I think this fear plus just kind of the will to kind of keep up with the quality of the content that actually kept me going. But yeah, I think that thing will still stick with me, to just post content, quality content, when I feel like it, and not to just force it and kind of stain my any content creation platform, be it LinkedIn, Instagram. I don't post for weeks and then I suddenly post for the entire week. Like it's just 1 week of no posting, then 3-4 days of consistent posting, which is like kind of weird. But that is what happens when I go on a creativity spree. Other than that, I don't just kind of feel like creating content. So I think quality is directly proportional. Like that is like a general rule of thumb for me. If you create a piece of content with half-heartedly, then the results will also be half-baked. So like it's kind of sticks to my mind always.
Got it. All right. So, quickly, if anybody, any founder is watching this interview, what's one advice for them when they're hopping on LinkedIn? And if a creator from the same freelance economy is hopping on LinkedIn, what's the advice that you'll give to them? So, one for founder, one for a freelancer.
For founders, I would say hire a ghostwriter. Um, you can create content on your own for sure. But if you really want your thoughts, like a lot of people have very good, very mature, and very thought provoking opinions about things, but they're not able to translate it and communicate it to people like the way they intend to. So kind of to structure those thoughts together, to kind of put their message out there and actively position yourself as a thought leader, you do need a writer to structure and bring all of those words and the context together. So I think hire a ghostwriter. That is the best thing you can do. For anyone who's starting out in the same space, like as a freelancer, or maybe like anyone who wants to build a personal brand, create a strategy before you begin. LinkedIn is very, very crowded right now. So if you really do want to kind of position yourself, starting out is not difficult, but keeping up with that is really difficult, like keeping up with the consistency. So kind of if you do want to move ahead in the game and be consistent with it and see results through it, create a strategy. Because without that, it's like aiming for darts in the dark and just kind of hoping for them to hit the bullseye, which is like kind of impossible. So I would say create a strategy to be consistent, because it makes it a tad bit easier.
Got it. And last question before we move to the rapid fire section is, and that will be quick, so don't worry. I know we are on a time clock and your productivity is high because you are in a night owl. But okay, so the last question is, I see a lot of strong mindset and everything, and you put whatever you do, you preach it, and then you also try and implement it in everything, and everything is perfect. Behind the scenes, how are you learning these things? Like, what's the kind of time investment and the money investment? Money in terms of percentages, that say supposedly whatever I'm earning, 10% goes into courses. Do you have that kind of strategy? And second, do you have anything that you do every day, like 1 hour I'll just give to blogs or reading articles or anything? Like, do you have that kind of investment strategy that's getting you here, or what is it?
I think it's just about conversations. That's what's brought me here, I guess. Just having conversations with a lot of people. Like I think my major growth, like which I think, which I've seen in myself, has come in like the past 4-5 months since I started using Twitter. I started interacting with people much more vividly than on LinkedIn. Started having conversations with them, was very fearless about, okay, just I saw a tweet, asked them a question, and those were people that I interact with. Like, for example, I recently spoke to Chris Do on Instagram. Like I replied to a story, he replied back, and we just had a conversation. But the such conversations actually got me a lot of insight. I started working with some writers, some more writers internationally. They gave me a like a lot of perspective on things like pricing, like value based pricing, like managing your work properly, managing your writers, because I saw them doing the same. And those are people who've been freelancing for about 8 to 10 years. So I always wondered that there is something that's still keeping them going. Like they're married, they have a kid, but they're still freelancing and they're pretty successful at it, like pretty content with it even. So just kind of having conversations and learning from them. Courses, I have like a plan to invest in them, but I'm still working out or everything for my masters for now. So I'm not investing in anything per se, but I'm an active part of communities. Like our WhatsApp communities are there, yes, but I am a part of other like content marketing communities on Slack, on Telegram, all of these places, and just kind of very active in listening to people, observing. Apart from that, definitely reading blogs is one thing that I cannot go without. So for sure, my work, my niche as a writer also involves reading a lot about marketing. Now that is something I'm also passionate about, because I need to market myself as a freelancer. So kind of my day is not complete unless and until I read at least 2 to 3 blogs, make a note about them, and just kind of then I feel satisfied with my day. But other than that, I really don't have any, just kind of habits or like systems for myself in place, because that way I'm very lazy. If I get time, I'll probably sit down and watch, like binge watch Netflix, like talk to my friends, just do something like that, because then I don't feel like doing a lot. Like my brain practically shuts off after a point of time, and it starts very late. Like I start working at 1 p.m, I sometimes stop work at 8 p.m, sometimes stop work at 12 a.m, sometimes stop work at 4 a.m in the morning. That's just kind of a little unbalanced for me, but that is how I'm wired. Like after a point of time, I figured that is what works for me. So I should not try and force myself into it. I
Correct.
actually
Correct.
did that, a lot of freelancers, I saw them talking about, I have a routine. I wake up at 8 a.m. By 10 a.m. I'm on the desk. I'm doing this. At 2 p.m. I take a lunch break. I actually forced myself into it. But what I observed was I used to wake up at 9 a.m. and I used to get very sleepy by 2 p.m. And my productivity just came gushing down, and I was like it was like a waste of my time. So I kind of figured that after a point of time, if you are working, if you are preaching to be a freelancer, if you're actually like someone who can work according to their timings, I might as well take advantage of that and work according to what works for me than what works for everyone else. So even my writers know that I will not respond before 12 p.m. My clients know that meetings are not going to be scheduled before 12 p.m. Everything happens after that. Late at night, that's completely fine, but before that, not really. But yeah, more or less, I think coming back to the point, conversations and just a lot of networking, a lot of observation. Courses, yes, but I haven't really found the course for me, because I always look for something which is like very, very detailed and actionable. And I kind of get lost when I read course descriptions and everything, that I'm not able to make a decision about them. But yeah, I do have eyes on a couple of courses which I think I'm going to be investing in. But till then, I think conversations are my biggest asset till now. So just going to leverage that.
Got it. Thank you for all those wonderful answers. I think I'm just engrossed in that phase that I don't want to come out of it and just ask long form. And now I understand why your long form is good, because you're good at that storytelling. And then now I'm like,
Just kind of say a lot. Yeah.
yeah, conduct the rapid fire or not. But okay. All right. So are you ready for the rapid fire? Here you are the superstar. I am Karan Johar. So yeah.
Let's go.
And we are getting the hamper after 2 days by meeting each other.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
All right. मैंने ये plan किया था बोलने से पहले.
Yeah.
All
Oh,
right.
very smart.
Okay. So Instagram or LinkedIn?
Instagram,
Wow. Instagram or Twitter?
Twitter.
All right. Why Twitter?
Twitter, because like I said, it's massively contributed to my learnings. Like a lot of things which I was afraid to do. Like Twitter consumption is very easy, content creation is very easy, networking with people is easy. I think as a platform, Twitter is very low commitment. Like I don't even have to think a lot before posting. I don't have to think a lot before messaging someone, because I know they will respond to it. Twitter is like a sweet spot between casual and business. So I like that about it. Like Instagram is too casual, LinkedIn is too businessy. Twitter is like right in between that, and that is where I find myself most of the time. So just fits with my personality.
Got it. Okay. Inbound or outbound?
Outbound for now.
All right. One hack that definitely works when you're doing an outbound outreach.
Hyper personalization. I think it's just kind of sending emails just like that. Personalizing the first name does not really work for me. I've sent Loom videos at times just to tell people why I'm reaching out to them. Sometimes I've kind of written like lengths of emails and they've still gotten a reply. Sometimes I've written like just 2 paragraphs and gotten a reply. So I think hyper personalization, just personalize the heck out of your emails and it's going to work, because a lot of times what you're going to say out of research and personalization, the person in front of you does not expect that. So kind of works like a charm.
All right. And if there's one Netflix series that you can recommend to anybody who's watching this right now, what would it be? It's okay. It's not that rapid. You can take your time.
I think Schitt's Creek. It's like very, very light for me. I really enjoyed watching that. I've actually watched that twice. Right now, I'm in a spree watching Emily in Paris. I'm watching it for the fourth
I
time.
love it.
I am watching it for the fourth time because I'm so in love with Paris. Even the business school that I'm thinking of going is in Paris.
Ooh,
So
that-
like I was like, God, I need to watch it again. So like I think my go-to series that I recommend everyone to watch, especially freelancers, to kind of just take everything away, is definitely Schitt's Creek. Emily in Paris is like a
it's
that's fine.
chill.
Yeah, it's just a little chic. But apart from that, Friends is my go-to whenever I don't feel like doing anything and I don't feel like watching something very heavy. Friends, any episode will work. Just randomly, I close my eyes, scroll down, and just play whatever comes up, and that is my episode for the day then. But yeah.
Okay. How did you back your biggest client? like you can just add the methodology. If it's inbound, that also works. But yeah, whatever it was.
It was outbound. So I got the account through an agency. So I'm currently working with Hodja. That is my biggest,
Yeah.
biggest client, not in terms of money, I would say, but in terms of the
Reputation.
brand.
Yeah.
So I have shifted my definition of a big client from money to kind of the exposure and the experience that you get by working with a brand which has been there, done that, positioned themselves, failed, then positioned themselves, and now are successful at that.
They've nailed their strategy.
Yeah, exactly. So kind of Hotjar, I got them through an agency. Like the agency gave me the entire account for them. So kind of worked really well, but that was through an outbound. In terms of a big client in terms of money, I think that was again an outbound. Which happened,
Wow.
and both of these happened through Twitter. So, like I said, it's like my favorite platform right now.
Okay. And so, last two questions. How do you zone out of work? I know you are not able to generally because you're so much in love with it. But how do you, in general, try and just get out of it? Is it a nice scoop of ice cream, or what is it?
For me, food, like just like that is the reason I'm not able to diet. I recently started a fitness program. I failed at it within like a week and a half because I'm not able to keep up with diets. Why? Because I love food. So like if I'm happy, I'm gonna have food. If I'm sad, I'm gonna have food. And I'm not talking about like healthy food or like homemade food. I'm talking about like junk, utter junk. That is what keeps me going. Like if I'm sad, I need to eat something. Like bring on the pizza, bring on the sushi. If I'm happy, bring on the ice creams and bring on the chocolates. If
Wow.
I'm kind of in a very moody phase, bring on the waffles and all of these things. Just kind of there is food for every mood, and that is why that is something. Like for example, if I get food, my I would say safe space is I get food, I bring it to my room, I kind of switch on Netflix, kind of play an episode of Friends and eat it by myself, just watching Netflix. That is how I zone out. And through that, I just feel like, yaar, ye khana khatam hi na ho. Just let me just kind of dwell into it. So food, I think, is my escape and my kind of safe space, comfort space, whatever you call it. But yeah.
God, what's one thing that you like from Big Chill, please?
Oh my god, penne vodka any day. Oh my god, it's so good. Penne
Oh,
vodka, lasagna. We're going day after. Let
yeah.
me. Yeah.
All right. So my
It's,
last question is, what's one quote or one line or one thing that you swear by or has changed your life?
age is just a number. It doesn't matter unless and until you're a bottle of wine.
Wow. All right. You summed it up very beautifully. I wish you so much of good luck, Komal. You are that one star that I really see shining every freaking time, every freaking year, whatever is the situation, pandemic, no pandemic, whatever is happening, you go, and we've got your back.
This
And
is
yeah,
so sweet. Thank you so much. I mean, I think I'm hyped up for the entire, like the remainder of the year now, like 2-3 months. I'm hyped up because you've given me so much, like, just hyped me up so much. But yeah, thank you so much for always sticking by, not just now, but like always since I started freelancing. I think you've been like one of my go-to people whenever I'm feeling low, whenever I have doubts, or whenever I kind of want to take inspiration, kind of open your LinkedIn profile or your Instagram profile, see what Unnati is doing, and then I'm like, chalo,
that's
theek,
sweet
you're
of you.
yeah.
But yeah, and you've made that network of people who are not jealous of you, and that's very important.
That's taken a lot of time, but yeah,
Yeah, I
that
have
is very
seen
common.
people
Yeah,
just, but I'm so glad that you now have some people that are not jealous of you.
yeah, really glad to have you, but thank you so much for having me here.
Have
It
a
was
very,
wonderful.
very good working time. And yeah,